What's going on, guys? It's Doss. Welcome back to the channel, and this is a POV 4K review of my most recent asset purchase right here. What you're looking at here is a 2005 Ford Taurus SEL. So I promised you guys in one of my previous uploads that I would give you a walk around and tell you about this car and if it's giving me any problems and what's been going on lately. So I'll start off with saying I have been searching. You guys can hear me on my mic. I have been searching on Facebook Marketplace for a cash car like this for about a good month and a half, and I eventually decided to settle for this because Hondas and Toyotas are overpriced, obviously, for their known reliability. The older models, of course, the early 2000s and the 90s, and this one is obviously not a Honda or Toyota. It's a Ford, but this has been probably one of the best deals that I came across, and I was just kind of exhausted from looking, so I figured I might as well settle. And of course, you have to look at these cars before you decide to purchase them. You can't just purchase them right off. Oh yeah, I'll take it. As you can obviously see the outside of this car, the condition is fairly nice. It's nothing too bad except, a couple of dings and dents and a little few scratches and stuff like that, but nothing too serious as we'll go around the entire car. And you can see some hail damage, of course. Just recently, we had some hail damage, some hail going on here, and that's what the previous owner said it was from. So I'm not too sure if that's actually the case or not, but that's where a lot of that hail damage is from. No broken windows though. And then as you can see, we have a little bit of paint scuffing right here, and then the front bumper is a little damaged with a little bit of a ding right there and some more scratches and whatnot. And that's pretty much it as far as the outside of the car goes. Nothing serious, just a lot of hail damage, some faded paint on the back, of course, and then you can see some more hail damage on the trunk and some more paint that's chipping off right there as well. So let's go ahead and get started with how much I paid for this car. So I paid $2,700. The owner was originally asking for $3,000. Seemed to have all the paperwork straight and everything good to go. It looked like it was a good deal. It was just under. It was like 50 miles away from 107. Now it's got about 108, pretty much about 1,500 miles since I've had it, I believe, for about a month maybe. And I'm making this video right now. So it's been a good car. I'm not gonna lie, it has left me stranded once, but it was pretty much my fault. I was cleaning out the engine bay, which I'll show you guys in a second, and I got too much water on the starter, which the starter was already going out. On these older model Fords, the electrical systems aren't that great, so it's a new starter in there, and I'll go around the car and tell you guys what I put on it so far as well, which is actually quite a bit. So we'll go ahead and start off with the tires. As you can see, these are some brand new tires because these shocks are worn out. I'm not gonna lie, they're worn out. This is a nice bounce house on the road. It's nice. I like the ride. I like it. It's not supposed to be like that. It wears out the tires faster. But these are some brand new tires because the alignment is not right, and the shocks as well. Like on the inside, when we were changing out the starter, the inside of the tire was showing wire right here on the driver's side, and I didn't even want to look at the rest of the tires. So figured the next day buy a new set of tires, which set me back about $400. And as you can see around the vehicle, these lights, headlights and taillights, are brand new, even though this one right here is leaking. This one has got a leak in it somehow already, but it's a brand new headlight, so might have to just figure out what's going on with that one. But these are some brand new lights because the old ones were fogged up and stuff like that. This mirror, I tried to glue it back with a super glue, and as you can see, it's on there just fine now. It wasn't that bad, but I just didn't like the gap that it had. It had a bigger gap than that, and I might glue it some more or just try to figure out what I can do with that as well. Some scuffing right here. This was already here. I don't like the mirrors on this car. They're way too tiny. I love the wheels though, by the way. The wheels are really nice. I like that. As you can see, disc brakes on the front and drum brakes on the rear. So that's kind of a drawback for this car. Nobody really knows how to work with drum brakes, but this car has a lot of similarities of my Ford Ranger that I have currently right now, and I'll talk to you guys about that as well. So you can see this antenna right here doesn't really have an effect on drive-through car washes, since this car does have this weird color that doesn't really get phased by car washes at all for the most part. Well, obviously brand new taillights, as I just said, and you can see some of the paint is starting to fade on the outside of the car. So, and also tint. This is 5% from the back half right here. This is 5% on all the windows, and this is 15% with another 5% brow right here. I at least need to be able to see through the windshield, man. I cannot. Like, the windshield is the one place I do not want to have tinted, even though it looks pretty cool on other vehicles. This is where I want to stop. And yeah, so as you can see, walk around the car one more time so you can take a look at it. These wheels are nice, disc brakes in the front, of course, brand new tires all the way around. So we'll go ahead and get started on the interior of the vehicle. Keypad right here, by the way, the previous owner gave me the keypad. Like I said, the previous owner they had their stuff together. You know, they had everything that wanted to know about, stuff like that. Car was clean, brakes look good, the oil looks good, the transmission fluid looks good, everything looks good. And I'm about to show you guys that right now as well. But anyway, keypad as well. I do have the code. I just forgot what it was. I don't have it on me right now at the moment. Here is the interior of the car, something that you will never ever see again in any modern sedan, which this is not necessarily modern anymore. But as you can see, we can go inside and we can take a look, and we could tell, you can see this is no center console. There's no center console. You just have this seat like a truck, like an old school truck. This is something different. But you do have your cup holders in case you were wondering. Boom, there you go. There's your cup holders. You flip them out, and this is a middle seat, something you will never see in any sedan ever again. Now, there was an option, and aftermarket radio was already in here as well. There was an option for a center console where you have the shifter right here, but this is like an old school. This kind of gives you some Mercury Grand Marquis and Ford Crown Victoria kind of DNA vibes right here. You got the shifter right up here to the top, which I didn't even know they made these cars like this, but they did back in the early 2000s. And as you can see, it's a pretty cool, nice. Now, I like this car much better than the previous 90s Taurus because that was one of the ugliest cars like ever to be produced. I mean, those circle headlights and circle taillights and that weird light bar that obviously wasn't even really a light bar. That was pretty terrible. It was one of the ugliest things I've ever seen. But anyway, as this guy is messing up my audio right here, we're gonna go ahead and let him kind of, get, oh, he's just gonna stay right there, wait for the traffic. Anyway, so you can see it's a pretty nice, average looking. Even the interior of that 90s Taurus was ugly. This is much better, looks a lot more, it's not as polarizing on the eyes, even though you have this one panel for the trunk release right here, which looks a little bit afterthoughted, but it's cool though. And also this pretty cool brake release for the parking brake right here. Anyway, we'll get to underneath the hood, and as you can see, I had been working on cleaning it. It was obviously just a dust fielded engine for the most part, but now as you can see, I wish I could have shown you what it looked like before. It just, just picture a early 2000s car that's never been touched under the hood before. That's what it looked like. But now as you can see, it's pretty clean for the most part. I'm still cleaning in the transmission, but what I did was I used the power washer for just the sides of the engine, and then kind of work a towel and some brushes and stuff like that on the actual engine. Similar things to this car, like I was saying before, this car features the exact same engine that's in my Ford Ranger. My first car, I still have it. My Ford Ranger 3.0 liter V6. It's the exact same engine, different transmission, because like I said, this car is offered with the center console, which means the gear lever would be on the center console, which means the transmission would be different. This transmission is obviously right here in front of the driver, but if you had the center console, the engine would be turned, and then you have the actual transmission. That's why I was wondering when I first had this car, why does it have a transmission tunnel on the inside of the car? But obviously this car doesn't need it. But it was actually an option, which of course they stopped that for the next generation Taurus. But yeah, as you can see, this engine is nice and clean. The battery is fine. The starter is new. That's the only thing that left me technically sort of stranded. I was at my friend's job, and luckily there was an AutoZone like not even a mile down the street, so we went to go grab a new starter. And the car actually, so pretty much what happened was I got too much water on the starter that was already going out, because like I said before, these older Model 4s, the electrical system is not necessarily the strongest. That's why you could see a brand new coil pack right here. Well, you can see a brand new transmitter. I forgot exactly what this is called, but this is what I had to replace on the Ranger as well. And also all these spark plugs. As you can see, these are the only ones that are new. And spark plug wires, I'm sorry. And eventually this alternator is going to have to go as well. I already know because I replaced that on the Ranger as well. And the starter on the Ranger as well, even though the starter on the Ranger is in a different location. I think that's the exact same starter as well, though. Makes sense because it's the same engine. Anyway, so after I turned the car off, after putting some water on the engine, it would just click. It would click like that. It was enough electricity and everything, but it would just click, meaning the starter wouldn't engage. So some of the mechanics from the dealership came out, tried to help me out and beat it with a hammer. Still didn't work. And eventually we decided I had to go get another starter, and from AutoZone and the core charge and all that stuff. You know how that goes. So that's what that is right there. And that's the new starter down in there, as you can see. A little difficult to get to for the most part, but if you have it up on a lift or a jack or whatever, it's much easier, and that's how you can get that out of there. So sorry about I didn't actually get a video of us changing that out. I was a little frustrated and just wanted my car to start up again. So that's what we had to do for that right there. And that's about it. That's all the problems that this car has given me, except I'm leaving one thing out. So like I kept saying, like I've already said a couple times, Ford doesn't necessarily, at least back in the early 2000s and the 90s, Ford didn't have the best electrical system when it came to their cars. Well, here's another thing right here. This is a problem that like the second week of having this car, I immediately noticed this rear door right here has a problem with the switch that tells the computer of the car the door is closed. So this one is doing it. Now there's some videos already out there that explains this problem, but what's going on is that even though the door is obviously closed, the computer on the car will sometimes say that the door is open. Right now, of course, like it's been doing it for the past 4 weeks. So of course, now that I'm recording this video, the car doesn't want to display the problem, but what goes on is that it doesn't even, so this screen right here shows you the mileage at all times and also a trip meter. And if the door is open, no matter what you do, you can't press these buttons which work with this screen. It's not going to show you the mileage. So I couldn't see my mileage for like a whole 4 weeks. And then it turns out I pretty much drove like 800, 900 miles. So I had to take a picture. Right now it's not doing it. Of course it's not doing it now that I'm doing this video. But for the longest time, I could not get this car to show the miles, because if you have a door open, you cannot see the miles, period. No matter if the car is off, if the ignition is off or whatever it is, doesn't matter what it is, you cannot see the mileage unless the doors are closed. And this is the door that's causing the problem. So for now, it's not doing it, of course, but we'll go ahead and walk to the other side. You know what? No, let's just open it just to see if it'll do it. This is the door that's causing the problem. Now, you can see the interior. I have a couple of things laid out right here. Don't really want to take them out just right now because I don't really have anywhere to put them as I'm out here today. But it's a pretty roomy interior, you know, very nice. You know, you got these nice cushiony fabric seats, really, really nice. I like the interior color too. I don't really like black interiors, so it's a nice good break from that. Then you have the key fob right here as well. This is the exact same key fob as my Ford Ranger, and then you have a regular key as well to put in the ignition. You just open, and then boom, you have a pretty decent sized trunk right here, a little bit larger than your average car, I'm sure. And move this out of the way, and you can see there is a spare tire down there as well, just like that. And I'm also going to show you guys a video, I believe it has audio, where we found a spare key. So I basically have 3 keys for this car because there was a spare key hidden underneath the frame, well, hidden on the frame of the bottom of this car when I had a mechanic check it out about 4 weeks after I bought it. But we found a spare key underneath the frame of this car. You guys will see this video in a second. So I basically have 3 because the previous owner gave me 2, and well, I have a 3rd key now. It was hidden under the car. I think I actually still have it right here. You have to kind of close it on that part of the door where the latch is at to try to trip the key. Here it is right here. Boom, there you go. As you can see, this is the key that was hidden underneath the carriage of the car. So you guys will see that video in a second as well. And a little bit of damage right here because there was obviously previously some type of device that's made to hold your phone up right here, and it left some glue and it messed up the leather on the dashboard a little bit. But other than that, that is pretty much about it as far as I want to show you guys for this video today. The vlogs and all kinds of content like this are going to continue. So thanks for watching, and I'll keep you updated on how this car treats me. I think I forgot to mention in the recording earlier is that I'm used to having multiple cars, just an easier way to live life without much stress in case something happens to one car. You have, boom, there's another one that you can use. And yeah, so when I was talking about the door problem, when the mileage won't show up, of course it doesn't want to do it right now because it was like earlier this week, no matter how hard I would slam the door, it still wouldn't work. But now it's working fine now, of course. I can't really show you guys the problem, but yeah, as you can see, everything is working fine now at the moment. But normally, especially when when you start driving for a little bit, the vibration tends to mess up the sensor in the door, but it's not doing it now. So, but anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is my door dasher. That's why I bought it. It's not really anything too glamorous, but point is, everything's working fine now, so can't really show you guys the problem, but maybe I'll make a separate video of it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and that's it.
Lots and lots of fucking drinks. That's the vibe.
Vince, we work tomorrow.
Dude, today was a whole ass fucking day. I'm not
content.
even gonna talk about it because it's just gonna get me angry again. Today fucking sucked.
What happened?
All right, Danny.
Later, buddy.
Catch you later.
Have fun at the gym.
Yeah, first time in 4 or 5 years.